And if you've ever had a really significant conversation with me, I have a reputation for making people cry.
Every time.
Oh no.
Every
Does that
time.
make us cry?
I don't need to be crying today, especially on this day.
Yeah, so it's not, there are tears. There are the tears that are sorrow, and there are tears that are actually healing. And so, and we're women, and let's embrace the cry. I mean, we have this amazing advantage over the males in our world because we get to express the full range of emotion. And we're not limited to one, which I love men in my life, but they're kind of limited to this kind of thing, or the almost angry thing. And it's really hard for them to feel all the other feels that just form. And as women, we have the opportunity to feel all the feels. So I'm just giving you that as a little bit of a precaution. It's not really technically part of this talk, and I will be honest with you as well, since this is the first time I'm doing this particular one, it's feeling rough. And then I attended last month, and Jill put in front of us the challenge of trying to explain your message to a 5-year-old. And that has just been rolling around in me for a whole, and she was doing marketing. And you know, getting your message out there as a marketing person and how to translate the conversations from, what do you call it, from business into, or from the friend zone into the business zone. And it was an amazing talk, and it was so good, and I wasn't even surprised because I've heard her speak before too, and she's amazing. And she's smart and articulate and all of those kinds of things. But she throws this, it's a marketing talk, and she throws this thing. How are you supposed to give your message to a 5-year-old? And I'm writing this speech, which is one of my most vulnerable speeches of all of them that I do. And I'm, what is my message? What is my message? What is my message? And I've been doing that ever since. And I know you guys are business women, and most of what you come here for is business instruction, business growth, business inspiration, business challenges, and those kinds of things. And I'm hoping that this message that I'm going to share with you today does give you some of those. But I also hope it helps you have a challenging conversation with yourself. Because you're the one doing business. You're the one showing up to the table. You're the one engaging with the client. You're the one offering the inspiration. You're the one having the conversations with everybody else. What kind of conversations are you having with yourself? The title of this talk is called 5th Out of 5 and Still Winning. It goes back to a story I was telling you, a couple of you at the beginning. It's a 40-year-old story. Monica and I, young.
Coming from a 40-year-old lady.
Yeah. So it happened when I was a freshman in college and I was 18 years old. So today I am 58. On Monday I will be 59. My next big number is 60. I'm kind of excited because good grief, that's a life. But there are moments in your life that you remember. And this one, I told you it's vulnerable. From 40 years ago, was not that big of a deal. But it has gotten me through some big deals. So there's really kind of 6 little points inside of this thing. And it comes back, I was a freshman in college, and the spring of that year, in 1984, I'm on a different couple of decades and then a whole millennial. 40 years. I decided to run track. Can you see that? I was doing track running? No. But I decided to run track. I had a friend who was in track and was really good. And I went to a college, a small little local college outside of Kansas City, Kansas, named in a little town called Olathe. There was about 2,000 people there in the college and stuff. And I decided to run track, and basically if you showed up, you were gonna make the team, but it was for fellowship, it was for fun, it was for friendship, it was to work off the freshman 15, all of those kinds of things. And it was fun, and it's spring, and it's like, why not? You can get out there and run, and most of us can count our blessings and say we can put one front up of the other. And we can bounce a ladder when we're doing it, because that's what running looks like for me. That is pretty much running for me, and I'm doing it in heels. Woo-hoo. Anyway, so here I am going out for track, for the friendship, for the fellowship, for the tan. It was 1984. You didn't worry about the sunscreen. You just worried about the tan lines. It did all of those things, and it was fun. And I'm not super fast at all, but I could hold my own. And you got out and you ran every day, and you're hanging out with your friends. And what I did end up getting really, really good at was the handoff, which is actually really tricky.
It is, yeah.
And so I had our team, my coach decided, okay, Tracy, you're not a sprinter, and you're not really a long distance person, but you're good at the handoff, and you can hold your own. So we're gonna put you in the 4x200, and you're gonna be the second runner. You know what the job of the second runner is? Just not lose ground. You didn't have to win. You didn't even have to gain ground. You didn't have to do anything. You had to show up, and you had to not lose ground. And you had to have a good handoff. You had to receive one well, and you had to give one well. And I could do those things. And so I would run the 4x200, and I would always maintain my place. Every once in a while I'd get a little edge, maybe half a body back, and then the next girl you handed it to, we did better, and then the last runner was really good. And so we would often place. And I'm hanging out with friends, and I'm getting a tan, and I'm getting in shape, and I lost my freshman 15, maybe I should do that again. So we're having fun. And our team got invited to go to regionals in Indiana. This is Kansas City, Kansas City, Missouri. I did grow up a little in the South, so every once in a while I'll lapse. When I first moved to Minnesota, everybody told me I talk funny, and I thought they talked funny. So every once in a while I'll lapse, and if I go to my old-fashioned stories, I'll totally lapse, so please give me grace. So anyway, we go to Indiana, and this is a regional track meet. And we did the 4x200, and everything went well. And then the coach, I can't remember why, so I told you this is 40-year-old memory. I can't remember why exactly, but the coach says, Teresa, I need you to run a 400. Now, so here's the 40-year-old part of the memory. I can't remember if it was 4x4 or if it was just the 400. If I recall correctly, somebody had gotten hurt, and so they just needed somebody to fill in. And just so you don't lose your place, because if you lose your place in regionals, your team drops, and so you just need to kind of hang in there. That's really your job, and I could always hang in there. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna hang in there, I'll do this. Well, here's the thing. I ended up in 5th place. Wow. And I got a ribbon.
Wow.
Which actually meant that the team got to move forward. So how cool is that? And I'm not a runner. And none of these things, and it's like, oh my gosh, I did it. And so I get home, and I call my folks, because 1984, there's no cell phones, and we get back to the hotel, and you had to dial long distance, and you had the little calling card so that your parents had to pick up a bill, you know what I mean? You know, those of us who, Jill's laughing like she knows what I'm talking about.
I had them when we moved here. I did, I had calling cards.
The rest of us are more than 30. So, anyway, although you look awfully young, and I don't know, you could be 27, I don't know.
Kendra's like,
hey!
I said same thing.
And I call home, and I'm so excited, and I have this younger brother who's 4 years younger than me, and he's a superior athlete, and he's good at everything he does, and I'm kind of the one who drops the ball, like literally I'm going for it, but I drop it. You know, that's who I am. And I'm calling home because I'm so excited because I got 5th place and it's in the regionals and I get to share this with my family. Mom, are you there? And he's like, yeah, is Dad there? Or Dad, Micah there? You know, I get everybody on the phone. It's like, okay. And I go, guess what? We got 5th place in regionals. I got a ribbon. We get to go on. And Micah's like, oh my gosh. That's my little brother. His name's Micah. Micah is like, oh my gosh, Teresa, that's huge. Are you kidding? You're in college, you got 5th place in regionals? Oh my word, that's amazing. And I'm like, yeah, there were only 5 runners. And it's kind of this family joke. Right? Okay, so there's a reason I remember it. But there's more to that than that to the story. What was the race I ran?
400 by 2.
Yeah, what was the race I normally ran?
200.
200.
What was I prepared for?
The 200.
200.
What does the 400 look like?
Twice as long.
It's all the way around the track.
Yeah.
And do they run it slow?
No.
Paced?
No,
It's a freaking sprint. I was in it till the 200 mark. And I was maintaining my own. And about 225, I was like, okay, something's hurting. I'm 18. Nothing's supposed to hurt. At least in retrospect, nothing's supposed to hurt. 18. What am I gonna do? 250. What did I hit? I hit a wall. I'm talking hardcore wall. Like, it was so distinct. It was so powerful. It was so strong. I feel it to this day. That's how powerful that moment was. I felt like I went down into this wall. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And you start like this. And every breath burns. And I do mean burns. Have you ever had like a really bad cough, a really bad cold, where when you're coughing and it's like you're gonna break a rib or something? That's what every fiber of my being felt like. And I've got 150 meters left. How am I gonna get around that corner? How am I gonna keep going? And you're just dragging, like literally you feel like going down like this. And everything burns. But I made it around to that last little corner, dragging. And somewhere along that line, I don't really remember when, but somewhere along that line, somebody came alongside me. Teresa, you got this, you can do this. And they start yelling for me. And then the next thing, I get vaguely aware that there is more people yelling for me and cheering me on. Until I get down to that last like 50, and I know I'm gonna fall down. There's no possible way I can make it. But everybody in the meet is there. And they're cheering me on. And I literally dragged myself across that finish line. I made it the last 150 meters, yards, whatever they are. Meters. You're running across that thing. And you literally fall in the grass on the outside, and I lay there, and I didn't move. And everybody's coming around me in my big old mess, laying on the side of the track, throwing up, and everybody's cheering me on. Yeah, you did it. I crossed the line. And every fiber of my being wanted to stop. Every fiber of my being hurt. I was throwing up, and I didn't throw up once, I threw up like 3 or 4 times. People are bringing me water and Gatorade and all the things, and Gatorade was only yellow then. And we're hanging in there. Then they helped me up, helped me over to the sidelines, and like I said, I don't remember if it was the regular or if it was the regular 400. And I was digging around, trying to find my ribbon because I still have it, but I probably put it, we were attempting to move earlier this year. So like half of my memory stuff is all in new boxes and I have no idea where anything is. So That's in there still, because I kept that ribbon, because I've kept that memory. And the whole point of this little conversation with you today is 6 things. A beginning, the first 200 yards, the wall, the drag, the finish, and a phone call. How many of us have started something new this year? I mean, literally, I'm asking the question. You started something new this year. It might be a project around the house. So just a quick question, those of you who have projects around the house, how many of them are done? I love the fact that you're laughing, right? We have, I mean, seriously, we start lots and lots of things. We do. And we're women. We're starting everything. We probably started something today. But sometimes we start something big, right? And sometimes it might be, Jill's engaged, she's gonna be starting a new life and starting a new marriage and starting a new family unit. She's starting something big. Some of us started our own businesses. And we had to show up and we had to make decisions and we had to, take responsibility and do all the things. We had to start something. It was a beginning, and beginnings are kind of fun. They're kind of scary. And sometimes we look at the beginning and we're like, I don't want that. I can't do that. And we let fear stop us from the starting. Sometimes that's how it is. But sometimes we jump in. Because we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fellowship. We're gonna get tan, and we're gonna lose our freshman 15. So sometimes that's maybe why we start. And then sometimes we're starting because, oh my goodness, I finally found the thing. We found the thing that we're passionate about. We found the thing that is gonna get us to our goals. We found the thing. So we start something new. And when we're in the middle of the start something new, we also kind of get a little bit of a discover. We get to discover our gifts and talents. I'm not the fastest runner on the track team, but I am really, really good at handoff, and I'm really, really good at holding my own. And I'm really, really good at getting beginning to finish or start to finish, right? Isn't that your slogan?
Yep.
You're really good at start to finish. I'm really good at this part of the job. I got the first 200. I know what I'm good at. I know I can own it. I know I can move this. But here's the thing. In our lives, do we ever hit walls?
Yep.
We've been alive for more than 5 years.
Those were physical walls.
Yeah. yeah. Or I watched my 5-year-old grandson one day a week, and there are definitely some sleepy, emotional walls that kid hits occasionally, and it's like, all right, we're done. So we all have walls. We do. What are you gonna do when you hit the wall? And do you feel that wall with every fiber of your being? Here's another question. So how many of you started something this year or recently? How many of you hit a wall this year? It might be a business wall. It might be a financial wall. It might be a relationship wall. It might be an emotional wall. It might be a physical wall. Maybe you got hit with one of those phone calls from the doctor this year. I've had a few of those in my life. Maybe you got hit with some news about a family member that was really hard this year. Maybe it wasn't even you, but maybe it was somebody else around you. If you're not facing a wall this year, do you know somebody who is? What have you done? How are you prepared? What's gonna get you to break through that wall? I have literally sometimes no idea. And the truth is my answer is not gonna look like yours. You're wired differently than I am. Your challenges are different than I am. Your skill set going into it is different than mine. But you also know that something inside of you is equipped to face the wall and to push through it. You're gonna be able to reach down and you're gonna pull that leg and you're gonna drag those toes and you might stumble. But you are going to finish your race and you know it deep in your gut. And you're gonna reach back into all of the things that you didn't even know were there, because let's face it, sometimes we don't know the best parts of ourselves until we hit the wall. So I have a challenge for you today, which is, if I'm up against a wall, what's the best part of me? What am I equipped for? Where am I gonna find it? What are my resources? Because we're all gonna face them. The year I met Jill, I started working for Liberty Title. That December, on December 26th, I had a bunch of tests done. December 26th, I was walking through Walmart after Christmas sales, and I got a phone call from my doctor. Teresa, the mass we tested is positive breast cancer. Day after Christmas. My first meeting I attended with Jill I was sitting in a recliner. It was just like a week after I had just had a double mastectomy, and you're bandages, and you're not exactly looking pretty, and you're on a Zoom call with a new team starting a new job because we were having a team meeting that day. I'm gonna give you a little backstory on that one. In October, so one thing that you need to know is I do have a pretty strong faith foundation. And that is one of my resources. And I'm telling you that in this moment because it plays to that part of the conversation, okay? I was in the doctor's office that October doing the mammogram thing. And I wasn't anticipating anything. I hadn't been feeling anything. There was nothing. It was just a normal, and this was 2017. And I'm sitting in the doctor's office. You do the mammogram thing, and because of my age at the time, they were like, okay, we're gonna just double check and see if the doctor's gonna want extra views, if we need to do the sideways ones or whatever. We'll be back. And I'm sitting there, and I had that inner voice, and for me, I would call that God. For somebody else, they might name it something else. And it said, Teresa, this time it's gonna be different, but you need to take it all the way to the end. I took a deep breath, okay? When I left, and they come back and they're like, no, everything's fine. He said, we'll let you know if we need more tests. Okay, you leave. Call my husband. Said, just so you know this happened. Call my best friend, just so you know this happened. My husband said, Teresa, why do you have to do this? You have to be dramatic about it.
Guys always secret.
Yeah. And then he's like, you're gonna make me nervous. And I'm like, I just wanted to share with you. I'm prepared. Well, they call me back. There's calcifications. We need to do some more tests. Call me back. We think we found a mess. We need to do some more tests. Keep going through the process, and then you get that phone call on the December 26th. You know what was amazing about that day on that 26th? I actually felt prepared. I didn't know what taking it all the way to the end would be, But I did feel prepared. I felt prepared for the phone call. And I felt prepared to take it to the finish. And I knew that something deep inside of me, this might be a wall, but I remember from, I would have been like 35 years ago then, 35 years ago, I can push through the wall. Something way back here, something deep in here, something's gonna get me through the wall. And I might be dragging my feet along the way, but I am gonna get to the finish. I knew that. Same thing with that little 18-year-old girl. When she hit the wall, there was something inside of her that knew, I'm gonna get there. And there's the other amazing thing. I might not be the one facing the wall. Somebody else might be facing the wall, but then I get to be the person on the sideline. You've got this. One more step, you're getting closer, we've got this, you're gonna get there, we're gonna win, you're gonna make it. I might not be the one with the wall this year, but I might be the person on the sideline enabling somebody else to face theirs. I want you to dig deep inside yourself because you've got walls. What are you equipped for? How are you prepared? Reach down, grab the leg, and drag it one more step. Reach down, grab the other leg, and grab it another step. That drag part is so freaking hard. Well, we've all got it in us. We've got the drag in there. We've got the grit in there. We've got the thing that can push us through. What we really need is, we need the thing that we're shooting for. Like, I wouldn't have been able to run that whole time still now. I did have a finish line. I did have an end line. I did have a finish point. And I can get to here. I'm gonna drag, I'm gonna fall down on the other side, I'm gonna throw up. But I can get to here. I can get to here. And when I'm recovered, when I'm healed, when I'm feeling better, I can get back up. I got better at the 400. I didn't win, but I definitely got better. And I knew that in order to be, I was prepared for a 200, but in order to be prepared for a 400, I needed to practice different. I needed to run different. I needed to be prepared different. Running that one taught me that there was the ability to run the next one, but I needed to do different work to get to the next level. And am I willing then to do the work to get to the next level? Am I willing then to come alongside somebody in order to get them to the next level? What did you start this year? What are you prepared for? How are you going to break through your wall? What things do you have deep inside of you to keep the drag going? Where is your finish? And keep your focus there. There's tons and tons of work that we do in groups like this as women, where we talk about goal setting and things that you want to achieve and having rewards at the end of the achievement. Like, the little ribbon means a lot to me, even if it is in a weird box I can't find at the moment. But it means a lot to me because it meant I overcame something. And so what is the thing you're going to reward yourself with? What is the honor that you're going to achieve? What is the blessing that's going to get you there? You've got a finish line. What is your goal? And is that goal big enough to make you drag your legs? One more step. One more breath. One more step. One more breath. You can do it. But is that goal worth it? What is your vision for the other side? Know that. Know that in your core. I've got a vision for the other side. Know what the reward is. I've got a reward on the other side. Cancer for me, what kind of life do I want to have? If this is my last 6 months, my last 9 months, or my last 9 years, what do I want those to look like? You know what? I don't want them to look like a drag. I want them to look like a victory. I want them to look like a life. I want to look like it's a blessing and a gift and to be grateful. And the very last thing, who are you going to call? You're going to get there. You're going to achieve it. You're going to find it in yourself, and you're going to cross the line. Who you call is who you get to pass it on to. You're coming alongside people, but you're also giving something to somebody else, inspiring somebody else, blessing somebody else. Who are you going to call? What's your race? And my time is up.
You have about 5 minutes for questions if you wanted to.
Yeah. Does anybody have questions? I mean, like, that's more of a motivational talk than a question and answer thing, but does anybody have a challenge that they're facing right now that they'd like insight into? Yes.
Well, actually, my son is challenged by one of his daughters, and it's just put like a strain on our family that we're trying to work through. And I feel like as a grandparent that I've reached that wall because I don't know how to help his granddaughter because she's got an anxiety separation fear, and it's just been such a nightmare for them the last 2 months. And as a grandparent, Teresa, I feel like I'm at that wall because I don't know how to help him to get through what he's going through, him and his wife. So I'm at a wall.
You're at a wall.
So I lifted it up
Yeah.
in prayer because I don't know how to help him.
When we're coming alongside somebody and they're up against a wall like that, then it's one thing you can't control, right? You can't control, you can't
I can't.
influence, especially adult children. Coming alongside our adult children is uniquely challenging. We cannot fix it.
We can't.
Can't do it for them.
Nope.
And if we did, we'd actually be harming them, not doing them any good.
Yep.
So our best and really only option is to be available.
Yep.
To maybe notice, pay attention to the little things that are maybe really hard for them to accomplish and find a way to carry something that they can't carry themselves right now.
Good suggestion.
It's perfect.
Similar wall today with my son who's 11, new school, something's going on, he's almost behaving like a toddler, Mom, I need you, can't do anything for himself. He slept in my bed last night, but I can't get out of him what's,
It's hard.
he
'cause
can't,
they
I don't
don't.
think he can articulate what the problem is. And of course, you're trying not to lose it on him, right? Because you can tell he's having a hard time, but he's driving you crazy, and I don't know how to help him.
9 times out of 10 with kids, they're afraid of something.
We've started a lot of new stuff,
Yeah.
started
It's
new
overwhelming.
school
It's
last
overwhelming.
week, new routine, middle school, I mean, we're.
Does he thrive with routine or adventure?
That's a
Routine.
big jump.
Routine.
Very much routine, but he's struggling with his routine. He doesn't want to get up. He doesn't want to go to bed. He's getting out of bed 15 times. Like a toddler. We're regressing at 11.
Well, you might find me in somebody's bed soon because I'm,
There's no room in mine.
yeah, I'm
I
going
can't
there.
crawl in. But it is hard because I don't want to coddle him cause life is hard, you have to learn how to get through some of these things, and I wanna support him, but I can't get out of him how to help him either. I don't think he knows what's wrong. And I'm hoping just time will be the solution, but.
That positive affirmation can be super helpful.
Absolutely.
Just knowing you're
I
there to
know
talk to.
my daughter suffers from anxiety as a junior in college, and you can do it. You are Sophia. You can do it. You've got this.
Just being
Don't be
aware of
afraid
it.
to share a story though either.
No.
This is when I was afraid
To share.
to,
Yeah.
you know, like you
Yeah.
can just say, you know what, you're making me remember something when I was a kid, I was really afraid of this thing.
Oh, no, I'm very open, cause that's the only way in my mind, the only way I can help, whereas my parents were just like, well, whatever, is I can't fix it for you, but you're not alone.
I think, you know, I just had a counseling session with my daughter last night because my kids have so much on their plate right now.
Okay, she said she was gonna make you cry.
But I don't have a good relationship with my kids right now because you know, they feel like they were abandoned by me because I got married and moved out of state when they were 20 and 21. And their dad had a terminal illness and passed away. And my son doesn't really talk to me. And my daughter and I are going through counseling. And yesterday she said to me in the counseling session that when she was little, when she was a toddler, we would go out to eat. And this child could not even decide what to eat out of, you know, a hot dog, macaroni and cheese, or pizza. And she would literally have a meltdown in the restaurant. And my husband and I would like look at each other like, you know, what do we do? And, you know, we didn't really have, internet was barely a thing then. We didn't have smartphones. I had a mother-in-law who was so medically, you know, if anything was medically awry, she was right there telling us what it was. But she was also very highly sensitive woman and emotional woman. And my husband and I are just like, well, this child is just, she's emotional. That's the way she is. That's her personality. That's who she is. And, you know, I would do my best to be gentle with her and try to talk to her and find out what's going on and build trust with her. And I could never get anything out of her. And she tells me yesterday in this counseling session that it's like she had so much fear and she didn't know why. And she said she didn't know if she was gonna live from one day to the next.
Oh.
And as a parent, I had no freaking clue. And her teachers didn't suggest anything to me. School counselors didn't suggest anything to me. This mother-in-law who knew all didn't even say, you know, we just took it as it was what it was, and she is who she is, and we're gonna love her who she is. And if I could go back, which I can't, you know, maybe I would have sought out some counseling, but I was so gonna be the mom that just loved my kids for who they were, because I was not as a child, and I was dragged to a counselor for what was my problem as a child. So it was just
me weird.
yeah, so it was just really hard to hear that yesterday. And so I say to you, you know, maybe a school counselor, maybe somebody that might have a better knowledge or approach of how to get something out of that child. Don't let him struggle alone.
Don't let them struggle.
That was the suggestion I got this morning, so I
Yeah.
have to call the teachers to
So
see.
sorry guys.
No,
I
but
just,
that's,
I
that's
have
why you
so-
reach out to the group, because I told my husband this morning, I said, we don't have anyone else to ask.
right.
My parents were young.
Right,
My parents were
right.
teenagers when they had us. They
Right.
didn't.
Oh, we didn't even think of it.
They
I
didn't
mean, we
plan.
Didn't even
They
think
didn't
that
engage.
there
They
was
have
anything.
no advice to help
Yeah.
me. So it's like,
Yeah.
poking and prodding the network, does anyone else have
Right.
tween boys, and
Right.
what am I supposed to do? So one
But I think-
suggestion was to reach out to all the teachers and ask if he's engaging in school, to find out if
Yeah.
it's a home, we don't have, half the information I don't have. I know how he's behaving at home, but I don't know how he's behaving at school.
Yeah.
So.
Can I make it, I went through something recently with my, youngest son, and we're very, very close, and one of the things, when I was talking, and I went through a pretty difficult divorce, one of the things I told him is I love you, I've always wanted you to feel safe, you've always been my top priority. He said, Mom, you've made me feel loved, you've made me feel safe. I think it's just communicating and knowing that anything they tell you, it's gonna be fixable, and we're always, as parents, gonna love them.
That's a message I use a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what you say, what you do, they still love you.
There is always another side. I mean, like, you're up against the wall, but there's always the other side. Always the other
And I
side.
can only see how to get there, but this one, it's just, so again, I've been poking the network this morning. Anyone have any advice? Cause I don't want it to escalate into something bigger. This is very new. It's only been a week and a half in this situation.
But you're recognizing it already.
Yes.
Like Lynn's saying, but you can, from here, you can make it, now you know what to do, right? Like, you can't go back, but you gotta just kind of accept the past and move forward from it and be there for her. That's,
And forgive yourself.
yeah, forgive yourself, that's
Forgiving
huge.
yourself is huge.
Went to her
Forgiving
grave
yourself is
thinking,
huge.
you know, guilty because
Yeah.
of my childhood and
Yeah.
everything that had happened, and I told her, you just,
Yeah, recognize that.
do your best.
You and all of us in reality, we're only human, and you weren't a mom before. You
There's
know,
no
so, like,
instruction books.
We're
there
in a big
isn't.
experiment called life.
Yeah.
So we have to go, and we find things in ourselves. I do actually have talks that are a little more like instructional business.
You really got this one going.
This one's different, and honestly, I put it together because I am actually speaking at so if you wanted an event, there's a breast cancer fundraiser. It's called the Pink Social, and it's Sunday evening, October 6th. It is not my foundation, it's not my fundraiser, I just happen to be the speaker this year. So that's part of where this came from and things, but
I don't know if I can listen to this one again.
I'm always sobbing out loud. Sobbing silently. It's my first time. We were together, you know. So, but anyway, but you know, I have talks that I do that are way more instructional, because that's what I do. Is I do team and leadership development and communications training and relationship training. That's what I do. So that most of it's like interpersonal relationship. Oftentimes in the community workplace, I work with a lot of nonprofits and lending. I've worked with title companies, real estate teams, and mortgage companies, and because that was my background and stuff. So I have like the businessy ones. This one just happens to be a little more personal.
Don't let her fool you. She'll still make you cry in the business ones too. Don't you for a second think you're gonna get out of that.
Somebody's name is courageous too. I help people have courageous conversations with themselves to overthrow past mindsets and rise with greater and purposeful growth. So that's what I do.
But
Thank you.
Thank you.